Hello, and welcome to Healing the Ancestral Wound. My name is Lisa Richard. I am the owner of Loving Energy Recharge, a Reiki master teacher, emotion code practitioner, ancestral healer, past life reclamation, light worker coach, human design guide, intuitive channel, and keynote speaker. That sounds like an awful lot of titles, and society gives us titles to identify ourselves by. In the deepest parts of me is a woman who is destined to change the course of the narrative of her story. And like you who have found this course and have answered the call to come in through the doors, you're probably identifying as a breaker of chains, as one who is here to stop the pattern of suppression and to really embrace what it means to be human and to help guide the evolution of the human species by committing to do the work within yourself. When we are undergoing any kind of transformational journey, it takes a lot of responsibility to move aside and create space in your daily life, to be willing to sit with yourself, to contemplate through the teachings, to form your own awareness to whatever is coming up, and to approach it from such a loving place within your heart with the intention of it does hurt when you're going through the healing process, and that requires then great love. When you are moving through wounds, it stings when it is opened and exposed. But it is in the clearing away of what is irritating that wound, what is festering in that wound, that then allows it to literally see the light of day and go through its chemical process of changing and healing and renewing itself. Now, scars remain. We don't eradicate the past, but we learn to honor the past. And it's no different than the Chinese teachings where when something is broken, they use gold to fill in the cracks as they're putting it back together. And it actually creates more value. So it is by acknowledging our scars and acknowledging our wounds and loving ourselves through mending those pieces together in a new way. It's not about returning to the old ways and becoming who you once were. It's embracing who you are today and allowing yourself to then walk forward with more faith and confidence into your tomorrows. So this course has been designed to be a self-actualization and self-guided workshop. It is going over the course of 7 weeks, and you are going to receive a video recording on each of the 7 gate activations within our Splenic Center, which is where we hold our ancestral karma, our deepest fears related to survival, our intuitive abilities, and allowing that to then transform within yourself as you contemplate each week on the active gate opening, the alchemical properties within that gate, which will bring us through the shadow, the gift, and the learning components. And you're encouraged to then create your own space and time to go through the lesson materials, to set aside that time for contemplation, to go through some self-actualization questions that'll be provided for you, and perhaps even to leave some feedback on the shared page for other students to explore and respond to as well. So there is a connection in here for community. This is a course that I hope will continue year after year after year as individuals find their way in the doors and find their ways to get different supportive tools. And I'm really honored to be teaching this course, but also with the humble awareness that I am also a student of this course. We are only masters to the extent that we are now ready to listen. We are now ready to allow those wounds to open with love in order to heal and in order to support one another through a healthy process. So it's also important that you have a supportive network around you in case something is triggered upon this journey, in case you find a wound that is very tender, and making sure that you're reaching out to your spirit guides, your loved ones, your ancestors. I work with the angels. I call in the angelic realm to hold that space. And knowing that there's nothing that they cannot do on your behalf. So even though we feel weak and vulnerable and hurting, they know how to embrace that with love and light. So it's also building a very strong, trusting relationship that you do not walk this journey alone. In fact, when you look at the picture on the screen of the beautiful tree and the individual standing at the base of that tree itself, well, she, he, whatever you're identifying by, is standing on the roots. We stand on the roots of our ancestors. We stand on all the wisdom and all of the teachings that have gone on since the very beginning of time. So yes, there is a lot of suppression in that energy, but when they have passed their physical life and they are now in spiritual form, they can see from a bigger picture and they've had a chance to review their life and can now offer the wisdom. So there's a lot of encouragement when you connect with your own guidance, your higher self, to extract the wisdom of the teaching experiences. And that might mean that we have to go through and really look at our suffering in order to have the honest conversations of what do we as individuals need to change. So it's not about somebody coming in to save you or rescue you. You are the hero of your own journey. So you may be going under a process right now of taking the dark night of the soul journey. And that just means that you are willing to sit in the darkness, in the womb of Mother Earth herself, to be held, to be nurtured as you are ready to face your own deep-seated fears, your own self-sabotage moments, and then to lovingly allow the higher guidance to come in and parent those aspects of you. So we're also going to learn during the duration of this course how to parent our inner child, how to recognize that we are a product of our ancestors. We do carry karma through our DNA, and we take those fears and we take what is surfacing for us, and we apply the wisdom of the present day to really contemplate on, well, is that still valid? Is there still a reason to fear this? Or has fear been a way of distracting ourselves from the truth? And not just ourselves as individuals, but as humanity. Have we been put into positions where leadership has created fear as a means to control and manipulate? And if we do feel that that is the case in our own journeys and what we're looking at through history, that means we have the opportunity to practice discernment. And discernment is knowing that for yourself, you will hear what sounds to be true. You will feel what is true to you. You will know beyond know what resonates with you. So building a relationship with trusting in yourself is one of the greatest gifts as you embark on any healing journey. So with that, let us dive into what is going to be covered during this time and some background into the teachings of human design, because we will be using the human design charts as we go through this course. So make sure you have a copy of your human design chart with you. If you do not have a copy of your human design chart, please send me an email, lovingenergyrecharge@outlook.com. You're going to see that link below in your course schedule. And human design is really a reflection of many different bodies of teaching. We have in there the aspects of astrology that are seen in this inner wheel. So all 12 planets within our zodiac are listed. And each one of those planets come in a certain house. So we're also going to learn about the different houses in relationship to the splenic center, which is being activated during the time of this course. On the outside of our astrological bodies, we're going to find what is known in the book of I Ching, the book of changes, the numbers 1 to 64. And the numbers 1 to 64 are found also within your human design chart. You're going to notice various numbers within your own design, and some of them are going to be circled for you. Now, the numbers 1 to 64 represent the 64 codon strands within your DNA. So this is your DNA structure. This is cellular transformation. And your circle gates in your chart are going to be the indicators as to what is really highlighted for you to support you on this earthly journey to evolve your soul self and build that relationship with your human. So we start with the very foundation of human design, where you look at your type, your strategy, and your authority. Those become your guidance systems to navigating through the world of energy, in order to start trusting in yourself. So that is the foundation to the human design. Then we move into the different centers, and every center has very specific components to it. In this course, we're going to be going through all the components in that splenic center. We are going to see its relationship to this time frame as we're going through the Healing the Ancestral Wound course. And what that means is it starts on the fall equinox. It starts through gate 46 in your human design chart, which is one of 4 love gates that are coming out of the center of self. Now, the center of self can be seen as your high heart. It's your magnetic monopole that is keeping you in course, in direction to the highest teachings of love. So that is our divine thread that is connecting us. And no matter how lost we may feel at times, we cannot break our connection to the divine until you pass over until you exit this human world, but then you come into fullness of spirit. So there's always death and endings, but there's also rebirth and beginnings. So everything starts within the center of ourself. And we find in there then that as we move into the fall equinox, it teaches us all about the love of the body, which is your human that is housing your spirit. You're not separate from your divine nature. So we're really going to learn during this time how treating your body as sacred. That means taking care of your health, your well-being, loving and honoring the body. So listening and paying attention to your intuition when you're hungry, when you're thirsty, when you're tired, when you're feeling afraid, when you're feeling upset, and really allowing yourself to honor whatever is coming up for you. So we start this time period through that gate. You're going to see a released video as you enroll in this course. It'll be down below, already bringing you in through the teachings of that, so that you can really start to practice whenever you are finding yourself entering these doors, to start embracing the gift and the teaching of that gate 46 in human design. And if you have that circled in your chart, you'll find that in your center of self, this little diamond in the middle. If it's circled for you, this is something that is a theme for you to carry throughout your entire year. It is very important for you. If you do not have it circled, this is your opportunity to learn and experience what it is to have that gate activated. Because what happens is when we hit the fall equinox, and during this time frame that gate 46 is activated in the collective consciousness, we all experience it. So you have a human design chart, you have certain gates that are circled, but we are all going to feel every one of the 64 gates during the course of the year. And this is also to remind ourselves that we're not separate from others, and that other people's designs, their energy, impact how we feel and activate new awareness within ourselves. So yes, we all have a certain type and a strategy and an authority, but what if you are also to share those teachings with other people so that they can learn how to participate in that on their own time and in their own way? So an example that came up for me with that is, as a manifestor in human design, my strategy is to inform others before taking action. Now, what that really boils down to is having respectful conversations to let other people know what I am doing or I'm not doing, to eliminate any sort of interference or confusion, or just to have a courtesy of letting somebody know what's going on. Well, that just doesn't apply to a manifestor. Imagine the world and humanity's relationships with each other if we were to embody more helpful conversations and be honest with our comings and our goings, so that people didn't have to wonder, what in the world are you up to? There wouldn't be the secrets that then manifest into the creation of a fear story. A generator and a manifesting generator has the strategy of waiting to respond, which means allowing the body to feel the truth of whether something is right for you or it's not right for you. Now, again, everybody could benefit by learning to pause and to go inwards into themselves in order to feel the truth of what is happening and to respond from a place of higher awareness instead of being reactive to the energy, which is often based out of a fear response or an emotional response. Our projectors often have the wait for an invitation. And that teaches us the power of not interfering with somebody else's life and somebody else's course and direction unless they are asking for your guidance. And even when they're asking for your guidance, you're still feeling that within yourself to know if it resonates with how you want to guide somebody, if you're feeling they're ready to do the work themselves. And really, again, practicing the art of discernment to know whether something is healthy for you or not. So we can all learn from that. We can all learn from one another. It's not a separation of design and type and strategies and authorities. It's no different than looking at your astrological sign. Yes, you are part of that, but you're also in a relationship to all of the planets and all of the teachings and all of the houses and all of the gates and all of the shadows and all of the light. We are everything. So we look at the good, the bad, and the ugly, and that includes the pieces within ourselves that we would label and judge as the good, the bad, and the ugly. So to continue our reference to the mandala wheel, we are going to exit this course when we hit gate number 1. So gate number 1 is one of 4 directional gates in the teaching of human design. And in this case, the 1 brings us into pure masculine energy. So this is yang energy. And it's all about who we are in the now. So how we drive our way forward, how we push ourselves out into the world. Yang energy is go energy. So in between the time of releasing and letting go and learning to love our body, we're going to examine all 7 gate activations within your splenic center before you hit that push of putting yourself out into the world and really creating your future moments of ascending or descending into who you are. So there's a lot of teachings that we're going to go through. We're also going to be starting with that fall equinox and the first couple gates in that time frame of moving into Libra season. Libra season is an air sign, and it's going to bring us into the 7th house of balance. So really learning to create a balance within yourself and trusting how your physical body is going to give you the clues and indicators as to whether you are balancing things or not. So this is bringing in fairness, equality, harmony, trusting in that higher guidance relationship. It'll bring about the themes of partnerships, marriage, business, diplomacy, agreements, contracts, and official documents. So we're also going to keep in the back of our mind all of these different components that are at play during our course of moving through healing the ancestral wound. We're also going to start the very beginnings of Scorpio season as we get closer to that gate number 1 in that human design chart. So here is where that air element of Libra is now going to meet some water of Scorpio. And imagine for yourself, when you have too much air and too much water, well, there's the potential to create a tsunami. So this is looking at how our emotional energy and how we communicate to ourselves affects our health and our well-being and affects our ancestral stories, our karmas, our bodies, and what we hold within ourselves. And that's also bringing us then through the 8th house of transformation. This is where we get opportunities to really emotionally mature, where we honor the depths of our feelings, but we watch how we communicate to those pieces. So this is where you have the opportunity to go through that death of the old self and the rebirth of the new. The death of an old sabotage and the rebirth into a new you who's more trusting and willing to navigate into the unknown territory. It's also about sexual relationships. And this isn't just an intimacy with somebody else. A sexual relationship is the coming together of your divine masculine and your divine feminine. So again, finding the balance between both sides of your yang energy and the yin energy. Using that also as creative energy. Sexual energy is creation. So what are you giving birth to? What are you committing to? So we're also going to be focusing on funds, finances, and other people's resources. So this might mean coming into the balance and the fairness of how resources are distributed and used within your relationships, your family unit, your culture, your community, or perhaps even a bigger global economic contents for those who are designed to really look at our systems and bigger picture viewing. This is also where we're going to see the release of karma, debt, so the accumulations of past life experiences and just being done with those contracts, learning to free the parts of yourself that had entered into a contract with another person, but it's draining your life force energy. So maybe this is where you find a release of vows that were made in a previous lifetime, or taking, let's say, a vow of poverty and learning that, you don't have to go without to be a good person, that is an old mindset of what it means to adopt the archetype of a martyr. So really examining some of the old teachings and do they apply in today's world? So that is where you have the opportunity to go through your own self-transformation. And it's going to be different for each and every one of us as we go through this course. We're also going to go through 3 different rings during this time together. And the rings within human design are a grouping of different cells, DNA, codon structures. It is the teachings of the gene keys, and its founder, Richard Rudd, is still in the process of waiting to receive the downloads to dive into this a little bit further. So if you're really interested in the different rings, I encourage you to follow thegenekeys.com. There is some information in the course below that examine this a little bit deeper according to what is available. And there's also a link there to go directly to the Gene Keys website to listen to Richard's teachings on what these are all about and what he is also preparing himself for to get ready for the downloads. Now, in its simplest of form, we can see that as genetic mutations that are happening within our cellular structure as we are becoming as a species able to embody and integrate into embracing more components of light and able to handle our traumas, our emotions, and release them in ways that are not going to create more havoc and turmoil. So we have to be healthy enough to face what is coming up for us, to then intercept the program and create a new way. So some of us may be feeling that transition already, where you've already done extensive work and you are feeling yourself in your own ascension because you're able to look at some of your shadow tendencies without spiraling down into the depths of despair, but really looking at those shadows and going, yeah, I do have that in me. We're not here to be perfect. We are perfectly imperfect. And it's only when we accept that we are both shadow and light that we can then learn to love ourselves from a deeper place. So we all have what is called a monster within us. That does exist. It's like that little devil on one shoulder. And then on the other side, we have our divine nature. We have the angel. So yes, we have both within us, but what one are you feeding? So it's important to recognize how your own monster comes up within you so that you can see it, you can have an honest conversation with it, and you can learn to intercept that by calling in a healthier program so that that monster is there, but it's not growing in size and coming to dominate your existence. So the first one we're going to be going through is known as the ring of matter. And this is really where, thoughts become things. So it's going to be looking at the infrastructure, the foundation of our physical, our emotional, and our mental health. So starting with that fall equinox and the teachings through there and moving us through all the way to gate 57, which is known as the gate of the gentle. And it's our ability to listen and pick up on the vibrations, which also includes our inner dialogue and the teachings of the splenic, which we'll learn in this course, that come as a very gentle, quiet whisper. So we have to learn to tune inwards in order to get the guidance instead of drowning it out with our emotions or the mind's tendency to want to try to rationalize everything. You can't explain intuition. It just is. So this comes with deep, deep trust within yourself and acknowledging that, there's many things to this world that we just don't know and we can't explain. So we come into a place of acceptance, but we also become aware of how what we think about, we manifest. Because we'll train our eyes to see that. We'll train our bodies to feel that. We'll taste it. We'll smell that. We will bring our stories, our sabotages, our fears into valid proof as to why we cannot do something. Well, we want to learn to shatter those belief systems. So we're also going to go through the ring of illusion. And this is where we're going to be facing the ultimate fear of humanity, which is the fear of death. We hold on to things so tightly because we are afraid that we will no longer exist or that we will change or that we will lose something if we dare to let go. So when we really examine those fears within ourselves and we face our own illusions, our own fear stories, our own blockages, then we come more peacefully into the human body to embrace the human journey and to realize that the only thing that is real is this present moment. So learning to relax, worrying so much about the future, worrying about the past, and just being moment to moment to moment. It's like freedom. It's like floating through the air currents, going with the flow of life, knowing that love is generous in nature, that air is in this space all around us. We can't see it, but it's there. So we remove the illusions that it's all happening to me and it's all about me. And we start bringing ourselves into the bigger contents of we are part of bigger creation. We are part of humanity. We're part of the world. We're part of worlds upon worlds. So when we learn to not take things so personally, we can learn to just embrace life and allow ourselves to be guided through the hard times, the challenges, the various suppressions at times that we face, by also reminding ourselves that, well, there's going to be an ending to this. You're not going to be in this pattern forever. You are guaranteed a break in that pattern and the starting of something new. History shows us that time and time and time again. But what we want to do is we want to spiral upwards into a higher level of ascension and not just repeating the same circular pattern over and over and over and over. Because you will be stuck in the same lesson until you see for yourself what it is that you're meant to transcend. We're also going to go through the ring of the Illuminati. So think of this as really shining a light on those bigger concepts. This also brings us into the teachings that there are certain individuals among us who are here to carry the torch of light, to be the light workers, to be the ones that have transcended through their shadows, to then guide humanity towards a higher social harmony. Now, you have to sense that within yourself as to what you are leaning towards in terms of guidance, who you are following, why are you following, and are you trusting that you are a leader to yourself and people are also following you. So we're going to go through two activations in that one, and that actually ends our series as we hit the gate 50, which is all about values. Then stepping into gate number 1, the place we are in now, the pure masculine energy, to kind of hold and sandwich all of these teachings together. So during our time, our 7 gate activations in that splenic center, we are going to be starting with gate 18, which is the gate of improvement. This is also the channel of judgment. We are going to be going to gate number 48, the well, which is part of the channel of talent. And the channel is a connecting line between 2 colored in centers. So you may want to look at your human design chart to take a look at that as well. You can also pop down into the next video, which is going to talk about the properties of the splenic center, what it means to be defined and undefined, and covering a little bit about those different channels. We're going to go to gate 57, which is the gate of the gentle. This one has 3 potentials for channels: the channel of survival, the channel of involuntary impulses, and the channel of power. We're going to be moving to gate 32, which is the gate of duration and the channel of transformation. Gate number 50, which is the channel of values, the channel of preservation. There we go, the gate of values and the channel of preservation. Gate number 28, which is known as the game player and the channel of struggles. And gate number 44, patterns, which is the channel of enterprise. So there's a lot of different components going on during this time together. I am really looking forward to diving deep into this course, to seeing how they guide the process. None of this is prepared ahead of time in the contents of when I'm called into the door to create. That is when we sit down and we allow the wisdom to flow through. So I am really trusting in this process, just like each and every one of you are going to be asked to trust in your own process, to literally learn to move ourselves, our ego out of the way in order to let the divine come in and do the work for us. So yes, you are going to be facing some of your ancestral fears, your wounds. You're going to be opening yourself wide open to that. We call in the angelic realm, the ascended masters, the teachers, to hold this space for us. And you'll see in the painting behind me a representation of just that. That is the teachings of the sacred rose. So it is reminding yourself that yes, as you are blossoming and you are opening up your heart to a bigger vibrational energy to accept more light, more peace, more harmony, that first we have to move through our sufferings, our fears, our suppressions. But we don't walk that journey alone. There's many who have already transcended that. They hold the space as we learn to walk in. And beyond them is greater beings and powers of influence that is surrounding us with love at all times. So remind yourself that you're only going to journey as far as your higher self is guiding you at this time. You're only going to activate those themes that you are ready to experience. And it's not about diving so deeply into the shadow. That was a previous mistake that I made in my earlier learning experiences. Was I was so intent of finding my shadow so that I could eradicate the shadow. And it doesn't work that way. We have both shadow and light, and there's pieces of your shadow that has been protecting you for your highest good. Now, it doesn't always show up as the highest good because maybe you've done things that you wouldn't consider doing now. But think of that as the place of the child who is innocent to the experience. And it doesn't matter how old you are innocent to the experience until you know there is a different way. When you know there is a different way, yet you choose to do an old pattern anyway, then you are creating a self-sabotage. That can be an area of deep wounding for you. So the person that you need to forgive the most is you. The person that you need to have the most compassion with is you. The person that you need to celebrate along your journey is you. So make sure you are focusing on calling in the gift aspects as we move through each and every week. Because when you focus on the gift, you will naturally see your shadows. But you will be well equipped to pull in the gift to surround the shadow with love. So we embrace all parts of ourselves. We learn to accept that healing the ancestral wound is a deep-seated program that goes way, way back to the beginning of creation. It is within all of humanity, And our only job is to work on ourselves. So I like to always refer to Mother Teresa, and it's not to have a religious teaching, but I resonate with the message at a deeper level and understanding now. And her message was, if everyone was to clean their own doorstep, the world would be a better place. So as we learn to energetically clean our house, which is our human vessel, our cellular DNA, then we add more light and peace and harmony into the world. When we learn to be compassionate for ourselves, we can become compassionate for others. When we stop judging ourselves, we stop judging other people. When we stop reacting in fear, we show others there are a new way. And the world is dismantling. It is going through its tower moment. You are seeing systems break apart, governments collapsing. It is meant to be that way. And it's not out of fear. It's because it no longer works. And when we look at history, history has shown us that time and time again. So when things fall apart, this is where you breathe into the space and the reassurance that the new now arises. But what is that new that we are creating as humanity? And that starts from within yourself. So this is also a time of preparing yourself to be a light worker that walks ahead with the reassurance that, yes, there's going to be an escalation of fear in the world if individuals don't know how to think for themselves and how to problem solve and how to trust that we will be guided. So you are in this course because you are called forward to lead that process. And you're not carrying anybody else on your shoulders. You're trusting to walk in the journey that is calling you and knowing that others are going to follow if it resonates. But oftentimes you're going to be walking ahead and it's going to feel like nobody's listening and nobody's paying attention. But you're going to walk anyway. Because what we need to remind ourselves is that the children are always watching. And what that means is when we are called forward, when we are activated within ourselves, we will find those footprints, those energetic footprints of those who have left the trail to ascension. So trust in what you cannot see. Trust that beyond your senses, your 5 human senses, that there is so much more, so much more. So enjoy the course, enjoy the process, enjoy this unraveling of healing the ancestral wound. And I encourage you to watch the next video as we go through the Splenic Center, what it means to be defined, colored in, what it means to be undefined, in preparation to then go deeper into each one of those gates as it becomes activated, to then start jumping in to do your own inner alchemy work based on the teachings of the gene keys and the alchemical ingredients that'll be provided for us. So welcome. I am so grateful and honored to be here with you. And I hope that you enjoyed the course and you immerse yourself into your own contemplations and you reward yourself by acknowledging what you are able to do, no matter how small or how big you feel that to be. Every little bit forward is great progress. Welcome to healing the ancestral wound.